I had a problem with this door latch, which was not releasing from the driver's interior handle after the car had been driven away from stationary and the central locking system locked all the doors. The latch released from the external handle, it released electronically from the key fob or by using the passenger door handle. It just wouldn't work mechanically from the driver's handle, so I knew I had to do something about it. I tried spraying WD-40, which did work for a little while, but then the problem went from being intermittent to permanent. I couldn't use the interior handle to open this latch, so I knew I had to change or try and repair, or at least change the latch. So I couldn't find any or much information online about how to change the driver's side latch in this car, so I thought I'd make this video in the hope that it might help people like myself in the future who need to change the latch, because obviously if you don't know how to do it, it's difficult. Once you know, it's easy. I made some mistakes along the way in doing this, so I'll explain what I did, the right things I did and the wrong things I did. The actual mechanics of the latch, I've made another video, so when I took the old one out I dissected it, had a look, saw how it all worked, and I've done another video on that to show the workings if you want to see that. So what you do to get the latch out, what I did anyway. First of all, quite simple, you just need to pry this thing out, this cover out. That's quite easy. And then what you need to do, there are two screws down there which hold this in place. Once they're removed, you can pull this panel off. I know you can buy this special plastic tools, the wedges or whatever you want to call them, that go in there to pull it off. I don't have those. What I tend to do, if necessary, sometimes you can just pull these off by hand, but I tend to get a big flat braided screwdriver, wrap tape around the end, and then that dulls it a little bit against the metal, and you can put it in there, prise it open a little bit, and then work your way around. So this is still loose, I haven't put this back together yet, so I should be able to pull this off. There we go. Now personally, I don't like removing plugs, unplugging things if I don't need to. That's a point of failure, so my advice would be, if you can leave this plugged in, do so. Don't unplug it. If you want to, it's fine, but personally I wouldn't do it. So okay, the next thing is this cover, try up was like that on there, so you need to remove that. It just pulls off. It's very, very sticky, that stuff. Okay, so once you've done that, this is where I went wrong actually. On the rear locks you can remove them. They are quite tricky. You have to orientate them in a certain way, but you can actually remove them and replace them without taking the glass out of the door. And I was hoping I could do the same with this one, but it's not possible. I released the lock, which I'll show you how I did that in a moment, but it is not possible to, the lock is, if you can see it, let me get my torch. There's the lock there. You cannot, there's the glass, you cannot remove, it's the handle, the exterior handle, that will not go slide down behind the glass. So what I did, and I'll explain in a moment how I took the lock out, but I had the lock loosened and I was trying to get the thing behind, and I don't know why it did it, but all of a sudden the window automatically started to come down electrically, which wasn't ideal because the lock was loose inside and it jammed, and I was in a state of, the thing was going up and down, up and down. Now what it did do is it actually came loose. So the glass, and I'll explain how that's held in a minute, came loose from the holders, and the glass was at an angle, and I thought, okay, I can pull the glass out. So I pulled the glass out, and then life became a lot easier. So what you need to do, I would say the first steps really, and these are the last steps I did, but the first steps, you need to remove the glass. And the way you do that is in there. Let me get a torch again. I hope you can see that. I'm not sure if you can, but there we are. There's a clamp which clamps onto the glass, and there is another one here. So there are two clamps, one in there and one in there. And my clamps, I won't say they come loose, but the glass, because it was jamming as it's going up and down, had come out of those. And what you need to do, this one I think from memory will be exposed when you take that big covering thing off. This one, there's a little piece of tape there which you need to take off. So what you need to do is loosen these two bolts, that one and that one, and then what I would suggest you do is you wind the window down, and you may need to hold on to the glass while you're doing that to separate it, but you need to separate these clamps from the glass. So wind the window down, hopefully the window will stay where it is. If not, you might need to hold on to it, as I say, and get someone else to help you to wind the thing up and down. Wind those down, those clamps down, and then the glass is quite easy to put it in or take it out. What I did anyway, I pushed down on this side so it's at an angle, and then it was able to lift out quite easy. So once you've got the glass out, the other thing you need to do is remove this strut. This strut, you can see there's the cable for the window. If you undo these two bolts, that one there and that one there, you can then push this back. Cable stays where it is, you don't have to worry about that. Move it out of the way, and then you can lower the lock and slide it around and bring it out. So I haven't explained how I removed the lock. Let's do that now. So there are 4 bolts here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Remove those, and then my torch again. In here, hope you can see that one. There's a bolt. This is a long bolt which goes to the exterior handle, and then there is another one which actually you can't see because you need to remove this bar, as I said. Then you will see another bolt which is a shorter one which also goes to the handle. That's why you must take the window and take this bar out before you take the lock. You can get to that one. I did actually get a spanner in there behind, but it's difficult. And as I say, I couldn't have got the lock out with the glass in anyway. So just to recap, take those bolts out, and then around here just trodden in that blooming cover. Okay, so around here where the lock is, there's a bolt. The long one goes in that side, the short one goes in that side. What you need to do is put some protective tape over the handle. I've done it on the exterior and the interior handle because when you push this through, there are some sharp objects in there, sharp edges, and if you're not careful you'll take the edge off of the handle. So you undo those 2 bolts inside, this thing will just come off, and then the handle will just push through. Without the glass in, it's so easy, it really is. One thing to note, on the rear handles you only have a screw at one end. I can't remember which end it is, I think it's that end. So there's a screw inside that, or bolt inside, you have to undo, and this side is a clip. It clips in there. You can just with mine, I think if you know how to do it, it's easy. I can just push it that way and pull it out, or you can use a screwdriver if you're gentle. So really, I think that's all I need to say about taking the lock out. Putting it back in is obviously the reverse. Oh, well, there's a bolt that holds this handle in here as well. So just undo that, and then that will come out. So the whole thing, this cable, the exterior handle, and this latch will all come out quite easily. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, there is a plug, electrical plug there. My suggestion would be to leave that plugged in until you get the latch out. There's enough slack on here, and then there is a little, you'll see it once it's out, it's much easier, but there is a little red tab underneath which needs to be pulled up, and then the plug will just come off. So putting it back in is pretty much the reverse of taking the thing out. Put the latch assembly back in, so get it all inside, get the bolts in, get this on, get this in, plug it in, of course, plug it in first before you put it in. And then what I did was, because my glass had come out on its own, these clamps were still tight, so I had to loosen the bolts, that one and that one. And so the way I did that, with the glass out, I used the window winder to bring these clamps up to that position so I could see the two bolts. I loosened them off, and then what I did, because you need to put the glass in at an angle, so I then lowered the window so these clamps are out the way. I put the glass in, and then I wound the window up so that it wasn't all the way up, because if it does that, then you can't get the glass in. So I wound it so it was almost all the way up, so I could see what I was doing, and I was then able to push the glass down into the clamps, this side and that side. I then did the bolts up. Now I'm not sure how tight they should be, because it's glass I didn't want to do it too tight, so it's tight enough, but don't want it too tight in case it cracks the glass. So this is all done now. This latch is working. If I use a handle, you'll see it pinging like that, so I wasn't getting that before. It was just mechanically seized inside. So I'm now going to put this cover back on, put this back on, and that's about it. So as I say, there is another video if anyone's interested, showing the workings of the lock. I think if I was doing another rear door lock change, I would investigate taking the glass out. It is pretty easy on the front, maybe different on the back, I don't know, but it made life so much easier, and anyone that's ever changed a rear lock will know it's quite fiddly with the glass in situ. So that's about it, I think, for this video. I hope it was useful. Big learning curve for me, and if I have to do the other side or do this one again, it will be a lot easier next time.